All right, it is 8 o'clock. I'd like to officially call the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees meeting to order at 8 a.m. John, can we have roll call for attendance, please?
All those in attendance: Nick,
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Mike is absent today. He's out of town. So we're going to have a board of 2.
All right, we have a quorum. We'll forego the Pledge of Allegiance because we are virtual, but I will ask for a moment of silence for meditation or prayer. Okay. All right. Announcements and correspondences. Sue, do you have any announcements or correspondences for today?
No.
All right. Neither do I. Any announcements or correspondences from any department heads or John?
Do not. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing none, we'll move right into our meeting guests. Today we have with us Mike Collins and Larry Jenkins are both here to talk about some projects from the county engineer's office. So I guess we'll start with you, Mike. We'll let you take the floor, sir.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I know Larry prepared a little PowerPoint because we got a lot to cover in a short term. Brian, I'm sure we're allowed to share screens. Is that correct?
Yeah, you should have the ability.
All right, Larry, if you want to go ahead and...
Do you have that up by any chance, Mike? Sorry about that.
Let's see here. We can go
I'll get to it. See who can actually get there faster. Sorry for the delay, guys.
That's okay.
I appreciate your patience.
Hey, it's early. It's only 8 a.m.
Right. What I really need is the coffee mug that Sue has. That would really help me. I'm almost there, I think, Mike. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah, if you go into slideshow mode, we'll be able to see it better.
All right.
Perfect.
How's that?
Yep, we can see it well.
Okay. So I put just a brief slideshow together. Good morning, by the way. I'm Larry Jenkins with the Portage County Engineer's Office. Thanks a lot for allowing us to come on and just actually share some good news. Generally, that's not what we're usually doing. We seem to always bring bad news, but we actually have good news today. So we just kind of organized it so you have something to look at instead of our ugly mugs. So I'll start this along and let Mike take off from here. Okay.
All right. Just a couple updates on your guys' projects. The 2019-2020 capital projects that you guys hired OmniPro through us. They did not use all the funds, so we have a return check, John. I talked to Kirsten about it. The check will be cut Thursday. You guys have a little over 17,000 coming back to you.
Hey, I like
that is, yeah, it's definitely within budget. Obviously, the OmniPro for 2019, we just used the same money from 2019 to 2020. That was for the chip and seal and some paving work in 2019, and then the Sterling Chapman project was also tied into that. So that'll all come back to you with OmniPro reimbursement.
Okay.
In regards to OPWC, I separated a packet. I kind of talked to Kirsten about it. I don't believe she's filed for reimbursement via OPWC yet. So this will be a nice little practice round for her. We'll walk her through it. Basically, when you guys applied for the Malloy County, you got awarded OPWC money. The contractor was paid directly by OPWC, and you guys just paid your local share, which was a 50-50 split. So the contractor's all paid in full. We have some return money on the Malloy and Selnick. And this money that we did spend, you can actually file for reimbursement at a 50-50 rate too, because you had some construction admin in the grant itself. So I prepared the packet and I've already spoke to OPWC about it, and all Kirsten has to do is forward that packet down there, and you guys will get a reimbursement at a 50% rate back to the township. So that's always a good thing too. And like I said, I know Kirsten's a little new at it, so we'll walk her through it, and that'll be all set to go for when we get going on the Howe Road project.
We will get working on that today or tomorrow. We'll get it all squared away.
Perfect. And then moving right into the Howe Road project, I've kind of talked to you guys about it a little bit. Obviously, you guys got OPWC money in that project too. We had a design scope meeting with Tallmadge City and Dave. I think it was a week and a half ago or so. GPD got us a proposal together. We talked it out with them as far as the scope, any concerns that the township or the city may have, design concepts, things of that nature. So Dave will be bringing up to you guys as far as a resolution to authorize us to go in with GPD, along with a pre-payment for that cost. So Dave will cover that in a little while. Moving with that, I also have a cooperative agreement resolution with the city of Tallmadge, which basically all that does is spell out the cost. What's OPWC covering, what's the township covering, and what's Tallmadge City covering. So I'm going to ask the board when you guys get into the resolutions to just go into a cooperative agreement. It's a standard one-page form with an attachment spelling out the costs of the project and the breakdown of the costs and the splits. We've used it on multiple other projects with the county. I did briefly talk with Brett, your guys' rep from the prosecutor's office, and he's all set to go with that. So if you guys have any questions on that, we can touch base with that. And then finally, with OPWC, you can't award a contract till July 1st of 2021, but you can hire a designer 1 year in advance of award. So we're right in the scheme of that. What'll happen is once GPD is done with their costs, I'll provide another reimbursement packet to the township. You can apply for those reimbursements on July 1st once you guys sign the OPWC agreement. And you'll get, I believe that one's a 50% reimbursement on that also.
We're using OmniPro again?
That'll be up to Dave. We haven't discussed construction administration yet for that type of, for the work, but we did, I talked to Dave in Tallmadge, and he was pretty happy with GPD. They designed the Malloy Selnick project for you guys too. And I think they did overall a pretty good job with the design work. So Dave kind of wanted to go with them again for the design.
Okay, that works.
Okay. Larry, I think we can go to the next one.
Yeah, okay. So I'll flip that up here. I'm gonna walk through again, just the three updates that, project-related updates that we have that are going to be coming up in the near future. Congratulations, by the way, on the Howe Road project getting issue 2 funding. I worked with Mike on that, and I really do think that's a good project for you. And it'd be a good improvement also for that industrial park coming out of there too. So that improvement will be all together. The three projects we're going to just briefly touch on today is going to be Old Forge Mogador intersection, Tallmadge corridor, get you an update on that. And then just want to talk about the subdivision updates briefly also. So if we'll just move forward to Old Forge and Mogador, that's an intersection I'm sure you guys are really familiar with. It's been 2 county roads and kind of thorn in Mickey's side since the 90s. It has had major issues. It's been one of the higher crash intersections for 2 county roads that we have there here in Portage County. And it's not anything that has just recently happened. Going back through the data in the 90s, we've been trying to solve this crash problem here at the intersection. It's essentially a speed issue on Old Forge. It really get into all the details and everything as you see on the screen, but essentially it's a speed issue on Old Forge. In the 90s, Mickey's tried to install dual stop signs, stop sign ahead, stop bars. We upgraded the intersection ahead sign in the 90s. In the 2000s, we did a safety application and a grant in like 2006, and we weren't successful in getting that any safety funding at the time. So we continued on. We did tree removals. We did slope regrading. We increased the dual stop sign signage. We added reflectorized post panels in the early 2000s. 2010 to 2019, where we are, 2020. So additional tree removal. We added more intersection signage. We did radar enforcement with the police department, upgraded the signage, and it really doesn't seem like, you know, we were to a point where without safety funding, we couldn't really, you know, make a really good improvement to the intersection. So we applied for a safety. We selected a consultant in really spring of last year. We submitted an application to ODOT and their Highway Safety Improvement Program application in September of 20. And you can see, you know, in that application, this is a summary, the 2015 to 2019 crashes at that intersection are 23 crashes, a few of them severe, but most of them there were 17 out of the 23 that were failure to yield. And so we put a safety application together, essentially looking for around $1.6 million for what the preferred alternative was, and that was a proposed countermeasure was a roundabout. So I'm going to switch the slide here. We actually were successful, and we're just notified within the last few weeks that ODOT funded this program, and we're approximately funded for $1.6 million. The design is going to begin on this roundabout here in 2021, and construction is proposed in 2023. To get to the roundabout, we had to evaluate through the safety application, and we come up with that as being our preferred alternative to the intersection. It wasn't the first thing that we went to. We evaluated 5 different alternatives to determine which one actually, you know, was the best suited for the intersection. We evaluated the flashing beacon, which was the least beneficial to the intersection. Maybe acquiring some additional right-of-way to, you know, clear some of the obstructions that are there. We had an option, and we investigated an always stop condition. We investigated a signalized intersection. And as a side note, the signalized intersection was the worst performing option of all of them. So it actually degraded the safety of the intersection by installing that. And the one that actually gave a 76% improvement was the roundabout. And that's what we ultimately decided upon. And we're successful to get funding on that. One thing I want to note is I noticed here that the draft layout was used for the safety application. This isn't necessarily to say how our roundabout's going to look, but it's what we use to lay out, hey, here's our initial cost for potential right-of-way acquisition, and here is what we think it could actually look like. We kind of think maybe that the roundabout might be skewed and offset a little bit. The least amount of impact to, you know, residential homes, obviously here is in the northeast quadrant of that intersection in the farmer's field. So maybe the roundabout itself gets offset a little bit and move to the northeast to minimize costs. But I just want to, I actually get to tell you the good news of funding on that. And it's a local project, and our contribution from the county is only 10% on that. So that's what we want to let you know about that. And that's coming. We're starting to design, like I said, and you'll see construction 2023. Okay. Next one is we just opened the bids for a project. I know you guys are well aware of this intersection, but the bids were opened on February 11th, and we got a low bid for $5.7 million to reconstruct the tallmadge corridor project. This project is scheduled then to begin construction late spring of this year, early summer. This is an intersection that I live in the city of Kent, and I drive through at my last place I worked every single day through the Mogador Road intersection. And I am one of those people that's a big advocate of that. That was a horrible intersection. Currently, the traffic is backed up all the way around Mogador Road, well past Sunnybrook and peak hours. The project itself is interesting because it takes, it eliminates that really weird intersection that we have. And you can see that kind of here in green. That's where the existing ramp comes down. It ties into Mogador right here and comes into the intersection, and it causes, it's a very strange intersection. So in 2017, they evaluated the alternatives, and the alternative that they chose is to change the alignment of the ramp and bring that out into the county's road section of Mogador Road. So it's going to come to Mogador Road here at a traffic light. And then it goes from one lane that we see today going out to 4 lanes coming out onto the tallmadge intersection. So we're eliminating this green, which is representing the ramp here in this really muddied intersection. And we're going to bring the ramp traffic into Mogador. And that's why we increase from 1 to 4 lanes coming southbound. That's 2 right turn lanes, a through lane, and a left lane. And then we're keeping the same, you know, it's going to be a similar configuration that is out there now. ODOT has went ahead and installed this right turn lane here. So that's already in place. We're still going to maintain 2 lanes of traffic in both directions, 2 through lanes. And then we're adding additional turn lanes to get onto the intersection, onto Interstate 76, and then to turn on Mogador. That project itself is was intended to be done, say, in 2022, the end of 2022, but it ultimately during the bidding process, it was determined that, you know, we're not going to be able to put that final surface course of asphalt in November, December of 2022. So you're going to actually see that project roll into 2023. But in the spring of 2023, the last things that'll be going on is the surface course of asphalt. So we're really excited about that project. And the best part of that project is over the last 3-4 years, the county engineers worked really hard and obtained through at least 5 different funding sources, a project that has a total cost in excess of $7 million. Through issue 2 money, through CMAQ money, through AMATs, through the TID, through all the other funding sources that are out there, we actually have very little money in this ODOT project. We were actually able to obtain most of our funding and our contributions and our shares through grants. And so when we got a bill in early part of the year for, all right, now we're going to construction, what's the county engineer owe? Our bill was 0. And that is just a tremendous accomplishment that we're really proud of. So I want to let you know about those projects. Next one then is my nice change ahead sign. I had the opportunity to do a small presentation last Saturday with the Township Trustees Association at their quarterly meeting. Obviously that Nick runs. And we made our presentation. The subdivisions regs haven't been updated since 1984. And this is, in our opinion, from the county engineer's perspective, the subregs currently are what I would say subpar. They are set up so that it's generally thought of as subregs are designed for the local subdivision roads and the right-of-way improvements involved in those. Well, those improvements and design standards are in that current subdivision regulations from 1984, and they're not up to snuff with what we want to recommend for the townships. Ultimately, as you guys know, the road network is turned over at the end of the subdivision design process and the construction phase and after maintenance, it's turned over to the townships. And we want to turn over a roadway network that has a much better pavement typical section, has new and improved and up-to-date standards as it involves to right-of-way improvements. And it's our goal to get these improved. I know this process has been going on a long time, and we are lucky enough to have Mike Halad from your office on our committee, along with Jordan Michael from Rootstown on our committee. And so it's been open, and our main goal is to get up to date and be on par with other counties on our standards. And so we hope to get that improved at a public meeting. It was originally scheduled, I think, April, but we met with the commissioners yesterday, and I think we're going to move that public hearing possibly to early May to allow as much feedback from the community, from the townships, from the developers and engineers, and compile all that feedback and make sure we get a document that meets as much of the needs of the township first, but also kind of as a blend for cognizant of the cost for everyone. But just know that's coming, and currently the revised strike-through versions of the subdivision regulations, like how an attorney does a strike-through version in a Word document, you can see what was there and what is struck through and what's new. And that's available on Regional Planning's website currently. And then there also is the clean version on there, so you can see both of them. The nice thing about the strike-through version is you can, if you don't want to be bored to tears, you can start from the beginning and go down through every single page and see all the changes as best as we think they've been made. And so I just want to reach out to the townships and let them know those changes are coming, and the county engineer is pushing to get those updates. And it ultimately is going to benefit the townships because you're dealing with currently a pavement typical section that is asphalt on dirt, and we want to make that a whole lot better. That's my quick summary here. I'm gonna flip to the last page here, and I got some questions, time for questions. So that's what we wanted to present today. Do you guys have any questions, comments, anything that we could follow up on for you?
Larry, could you just email me this slide deck so I have it? Because I'd like to just have that in our files.
Sure.
And then the other piece is with the Howe Road and Mogador Road, I'm just preparing for potential phone calls about it. I think it's a great project. I'm excited we can work together on it. Do you want us to direct those over to your office if we have any citizens that have questions about that, especially the roundabout and property pieces there?
Yeah, absolutely. On the roundabout for Old Forge and Mogador, make sure that they just contact the county engineer's office.
Okay.
And we can walk them through that process. The big thing to remember about that is, we got funding and we evaluated other alternatives, but it's not designed yet. So we got a good ways to go in that one.
Okay, perfect. And I think the other one I have before I open up to everyone else is any updates on Route 18 and Sandy Lake? We had that fatality there within the past year. It just seems to be a real sore spot for our community, just for some residents. So I just didn't know if you guys have any updates. Not throw you on the spot, but if you do, that's fine. If not, email me later.
No, Mike and I have been working on that, and I'm gonna let him take that question. It is a sad situation, and we take it very seriously, and we have investigated it, and I'll let him give you the preliminary investigation results on that.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick, it's a great question. I did evaluate the intersection similar to what we did down the road at Lynn and Sandy Lake. So basically when we look at the intersection, we look at the crash history, including the fatality that happened, I think it was in the fall of 2020. I also do ADT counts due to Cranberry Creek. I thought maybe the ADT was increasing on Sandy Lake there just due to, what do you got? Almost 300 lots or soon to be 300 lots up at Cranberry. Unfortunately, the ADT didn't change much. So I don't know if they're going out Malloy or heading north or cutting down Lynn. I know the ADTs did increase on Lynn a little bit on both sides. So I look at the ADTs first. Second, we look at the crash history. And unfortunately, in this case, it was distracted driving that ran the sign. And we've had a couple other distracted driving. I'm super impressed with the crash reports now. They're getting better and better and better as far as details, because we can only go off of crash reports. We can't go off of, oh, my neighbor, it's bad lighting. It's simply, we can't do that. And that's, it's a situation there. At this point in time, we're going to be meeting with Mickey in the near future to discuss some signage adjustments. I still believe they're seeing the stop signs. Unfortunately, distracted driving is not going to change any type of sign, signal, whatever you want to call it. But the most of it is a little bit of speeding on tallmadge. They're not judging the gap correctly. It's failure to yields. And I'm sure your police department could add to that, because I think all the reports actually came from them. I don't believe OSP. They answer some of them, but I believe all those. I had a total of 9 since 2018 in those areas. And a lot of them were actually a single unit. They weren't involved. It was some snow conditions, sliding off the road. I had one that unfortunately the lady's front windshield was iced up and she couldn't see properly. But at this point in time, we're going to do some signage adjustments and then evaluate it down the road. Unfortunately, just similar to Old Forge, as accidents come about, we'll evaluate it in more detail. I am going to talk to the body shop on the side there. I don't believe he's parking vehicles on the side there anymore. I think he's going around Edwards Body Shop. I'm real close with, and he's a super nice guy. I'm sure you guys know him too. We did have some issues with vehicles blocking the view of the vehicles at the stop sign. But that's kind of where we're at with the Sandy Lake and Talmadge Road intersection at this time.
Okay. No, I appreciate the update. Like I said, we've just been getting some questions here and there from residents about what the progress was. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to open up the floor to the rest of our board. John, Sue, any questions?
I do, Larry. Can you go through the off-ramp of 76? I saw that was part of the construction as well. 76 East.
So I don't have a blown up picture of that, but I think you're talking right in here.
Yes.
Okay. So that intersection, I can't even zoom in on it, I don't think, but what's happening there is it's still going to be that same alignment where you come underneath here and you go across the intersection back onto Mogador. That actually isn't changing, but we've got some storage capacity issue here on the ramp. As you come eastbound on 76, the intent was to provide some additional queuing storage here, because what currently happens is as this backs up, it backs up clear. I've experienced it personally, clear up on the ramp. And that's the one thing that we don't want to have happen. So to minimize cost, we focused the improvements on this intersection here and gave additional queuing links by adding three additional lanes here. When you come off now, it's really one, but it's wide enough to be two. So you always have two cars kind of driving, maybe on the shoulder or whatever. But what we have now shown here is that we'll provide two additional lanes here, because there's really only one. Is that kind of what your question was, John?
Yeah, and is the building going away too?
That's a very good point. So in this preliminary layout, which was done back in 2017, there was thought that the improvements necessary would require that whole parcel to be obtained by ODOT. Well, as we went through the whole process, we kind of redesigned so that we're only going to provide a small impact to that parcel because of the cost of the acquiring private property as a commercial business. the cost of those are extremely high. And so we are able to design around that and only impact the small corner of it.
Okay, so that building will still be there?
It will, yes. Yep.
Okay. And does it widen up on the other side of 18 coming from Sunnybrook there going west? Does that get larger?
Yeah, we're increasing the taper length down here so that it actually turns into 4 lanes a little bit before. We know that I think there's a curbed island through here. That'll be all rebuilt, and really you can see here at the Sunnybrook section, we're still going to be west of Sunnybrook with the limits of our improvements. So we're not going past Sunnybrook in the project limits.
Okay. Thanks, Larry.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions for the engineer's office? All right. Hearing none. Mike and Larry, I want to thank both of you for being here today and giving these updates for us. Building this relationship between the township and the county and working on these projects together is great. I'm really excited to see some of this development happen now, especially the 76. We all know how well that's needed. And I'm excited to see that we're making some progress on the Howe and Mogador Road intersection too. So really excited about this and excited to work on some future projects with you too also.
Thank you guys for making it so easy too. Appreciate that.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time. And we'll update you as the public information officer with ODOT reaches out to us and gives us updates through the Tallmadge Corridor project. We'll get more details and we'll make sure that you're kept in the loop and won't be any surprises. Okay.
Perfect. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good day.
All right. I see we have no other meeting guests, so we will move into meeting minutes. I believe those were for February 10th. So I'd like to make a motion to approve both the special hearing and regular meeting for February 10th for Brimfield Township.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, agenda. I'd like a motion to accept the agenda.
So move.
I will second that. Any changes by department heads or board members?
No.
No. Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the purchase orders.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, we have warrants. Need a motion for warrants.
So move.
I'll second.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, public comments and questions. Does anyone have any submitted public comments or questions to be read into the record today? All right, hearing none. Any safety concerns?
None.
All right, hearing none, we'll move into the business portion. Police Department, Chief Mosley is out of office today, so we have Captain Atkins. Sir, the floor is yours.
Morning, everyone. You should have in your Dropbox the report the chief submitted with some old business and new business. As of 2 days ago, we're at 2,340 calls for service and 21 arrests and criminal complaints. In old business, Ben Mars was sworn in as an officer on February 19th. His start date is set for next week. Schedule yet to be determined. And the only thing I have for new business is the purchase of new police vehicles for this year. And I'll have 3 requests for board approval. One will be to accept the bid from Park Ford for an amount not to exceed $66,000. That's $33,000 a piece for 2 2022 Police Interceptor SUVs. The second, well, how do you want me to do? You want to do individually and discuss?
Yeah, I think we got to do them individually just for the meeting book too. So,
okay.
So we can start with that one. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase order to Park Ford in an amount of $66,000 to purchase 2 2021 police interceptor cruisers.
Second.
2022.
Or 2022. All right, sorry, our agenda was wrong.
It says 21 on the thing here. Okay, 22.
When they come in, they'll be 2022 models.
Okay, it just said 21 on the sheet here. So,
okay.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
A motion passed.
With that purchase, we're going to trade in 1 vehicle and get 2 vehicles. So we'll cycle 1 vehicle out and then have an additional vehicle to our fleet to account for adding additional officers. The future plan is to cycle out 2 cars every year to cut down on our maintenance. So we will trade in 1 car. The problem with that is the 1 car is the oldest car in the fleet and the equipment will not transfer over to a new car. So we're going to have to get new equipment because of the 2020, they changed the body style on the SUV. So the second purchase order request will be to Hall Public Safety. And that amount is updated. I have an accurate quote.
Okay.
To make that to not exceed $31,000. That will be all the equipment for 2 brand new vehicles.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve a purchase order to Hall's Public Safety in the amount not to exceed $31,000 for the equipment to set up 2 police interceptors.
Second.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Hey, Chris, on that, are we transferring any equipment over? Are the MDTs going to transfer over with that? Or are we purchasing all new stuff?
All of the MDT, except for the actual vehicle specific that mounts to the dash, will get transferred over. So the keyboard to keyboard holder, the MDT itself, and then most of the mount, there's just 1 piece we have to replace because it doesn't fit a 2022. And the camera system will transfer over too. The majority of the stuff we're going to buy are the lights in the console, cage, things that won't fit. The other equipment we transfer from car to car will stay.
Okay.
The next thing we have will be approval of a purchase order to MPH Industries for an amount not to exceed $3,000. That is for 2 new radar units. 1 will be for the new car that doesn't have one, and 1 will be to, excuse me, to replace the radar unit in the oldest car we have. It's the oldest radar in the fleet, and it gets a little tricky when it comes to its functionality. So we have to, we get them calibrated and tested every year, and it's struggling to pass. So it's the one that's in my car, very rarely gets used. It's time to replace it. It's probably over 10 years old at this point. So that will be to add 2 new radar units, and that replaces 1 and adds a new one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a purchase order to MPH Industries to purchase 2 vehicle radar units in an amount not to exceed $3,000.
Second.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And the last one I have, I don't believe it's on the agenda, but because we are adding 1 new vehicle, we have to add another camera and MDT because we're adding 1 to the fleet. So request a purchase order to Midwest Public Safety for amount not to exceed $9,600. And that purchases 1 MDT and the in-car camera system.
All right,
Do we need to adjust the agenda before
yes,
we vote on
yeah, we'll have to
anything?
adjust the agenda. And I needed to add something. I think this is best under police because I didn't see it under admin, John. So I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add the purchase of a camera and MDT unit as letter D as in David under police. And then letter E as in Edward under police. I'd like to amend the agenda for a resolution urging the governor to deploy the COVID-19 vaccine to law enforcement.
Second.
Hold on 1 sec here. Hold on. I know we meant to put that on there. Apologize about that. All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Motion passed.
All right, then I'd like to make a motion to approve a purchase order to Midwest Public Safety for the purchase of camera and MDT unit not to exceed $9,600.
Second.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And that is everything I have for the day.
All right, Chris, while I have you on here, just to verify, law enforcement, or at least Brimfield PD, has not been offered the vaccine at this point. Is that correct?
That is correct, except we have one person who is going, Officer Brett Dinkelman, who's the SRO. The schools have worked out, since he's in the schools every day and teachers are getting their vaccine tomorrow, that he is scheduled to get his first vaccine tomorrow, but he will be the only one. We have not been contacted as a law enforcement agency.
Okay. All right. With that said, this is a piece that I've been working on. I've had conversations with our state reps. I've had conversations with our local commissioners, urging them to make this change. And we got a letter from the FOP finally through Commissioner Bennett, urging us to pass this resolution. The resolution is a request to the governor's office to change their stance on the COVID-19 vaccine related to law enforcement within our township and across the state of Ohio. I think this is one of the best moves that we can make. It's a way for us to at least send something official down there. And I'm going to continue to call and hound these reps on a weekly basis because I think it's not right what they're doing to not allow law enforcement to be listed as first responders. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion whereas Ohio's law enforcement officers and the members of the Brimfield Police Department provide an essential service to the Brimfield Township in keeping our communities safe. And whereas the members of the Brimfield Police Department are at great risk of contracting the coronavirus. In fact, it has been reported that 409 law enforcement officers in the United States have died of COVID-19. And whereas a COVID-19 antibody study done by Mercy Health in Toledo, Ohio, indicates that police officers are at a higher risk of contracting COVID-19 than other first responders. And whereas the Center for Disease Control has determined that law enforcement personnel should be the first in line. Whereas law enforcement officers are not included in the first tier of people who are eligible to get the COVID-19 vaccine as determined by the state of Ohio, but continue to be at risk of contracting the virus. And whereas the Ohio Attorney General, Dave Yost, the Fraternal Order of Police, and the Ohio Associations of Chiefs of Police have recently urged Governor DeWine to include law enforcement in Tier 1B. And whereas the Portage County Health only receives approximately their share of doses of vaccine per week. Therefore, be it resolved, the Brimfield Township Board of Trustees formally request Ohio Governor Mike DeWine to include Ohio's law enforcement personnel in Tier 1B in the Ohio Department of Health's vaccine priority designation and increase the amount of vaccine being provided to Portage County to accomplish this request.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Nick, you're reading that right off the letter that we had, correct?
Yes.
So I'm just going to insert that whole letter in the minutes.
And then John, we'll get that mailed out today, correct?
Right. I had to, Sue, you signed, and then Nick, you signed last night?
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to send it out today.
John, when we send that, can we CC that to the county commissioners and the health director of Portage County, please?
Yes.
Nick, Sue, and Mike, I really do appreciate you guys doing this resolution. It's been a little irritating point for me for quite a while. The fact that we respond to Walmart and Meijer for people not wearing masks, which is usually a daily call, and the fact that we aren't considered to be at risk, it blows my mind. I mean, we're dealing with people who refuse to follow any of the regulations, and then we have to respond to it, but yes, we aren't considered at risk, and it's very frustrating to me, and I really do appreciate you guys sticking up for us on this.
You know, and I agree, Chris. I think it's really disheartening. But what's even scarier is when I first started this conversation a few weeks ago, when I learned that when 1B rolled out and you guys were not included in that, our local representatives didn't even know. Our state rep was unaware. Our county commissioners were unaware. And then our health director, when we brought it to his attention and even asked, hey, can we have waste, right? And waste meaning there's 10 shots in a vial. They only gave 6 because, 4 people didn't show up. Can we put the police on a waste list? His answer was no. And that's just not acceptable to me. And so this is just another tool that we can add to continue to push that pressure on those above us. So
I appreciate it. And one thing I didn't add earlier, and I don't know if they're still around, but I really appreciate the work the Portage County Engineer's Office did on both of those intersections. I've been here for 20 years. I've seen a lot of bad accidents there, including fatals, which weren't listed on the Mogador Road Old Fords intersection because they were outside the time frame they looked at. But the work on those 2 intersections was really huge for this township. And I'm glad they did the work and the study and looked at the different options to see what will work. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be some good changes. We're moving in the right direction. So, and we appreciate all the work. Let your officers know we appreciate all the work they're doing out there, especially during COVID. It's hard. I usually like to try to do some ride-alongs and spend some time with you guys, but COVID's made that difficult. So,
yeah, it's changed things quite a bit here.
Yeah. All right. Other questions or comments for police department? All right. No. Hearing none, we'll move into the next section, which will be fire department.
Okay. Good morning. Old business under fire department. I don't have any right now. Well, I guess it is a little bit old business, but it'll all be under new. Old business station update. Color charts are here at the station. Station plans need to be finalized by the 1st of March. So I know I've talked to a couple of the trustees, and we probably need to get together with a in-person meeting, let's call it, to go over any kind of finalized plans that you guys would want to see changed very shortly. So let me work on that and I'll get back to you. And we can look at some color palettes and stuff like that. So that's the next step. Mark's radios, 800 radios. We did make our radio switch. Radios are in place as of today. There's a lot of bugs that we're working out that we didn't anticipate through our end and dispatch, but they're working. They're not. We haven't figured everything out yet, but I believe they will be better for us. So that's off of the grant we received, which was federal grant up to $300,000. Budget is close to being complete and move forward the year. And actually that's an update on that. It should be complete, and we'll talk about that later on in the session here. The only other thing I had was the COVID numbers. I'm not receiving those from the county anymore because the people that are working on those through the county are out giving the shots. So I think it's a time frame thing for them. That's what I'm anticipating. But when I pull the numbers, and anybody can Google these same numbers, as of today or as of yesterday, we're around 1,600 new cases. Where on December 12th, they were 11,200 in the state of Ohio. So we are seeing a significant drop in cases, which that's a good thing for all of us. Still out there, but I just wanted to, I guess that surprised me how low the numbers have come in the last 2 months. Any questions to anything I said?
No, at this time.
Okay, moving into admin business. Really, we need to go into old business, and I'm right off the bat. Lexipol system. Lexipol system, for those of you who don't know, is a system that you can purchase that will help you write SOPs, SOGs for your department to make sure you're within the state mandates.
Hey, you haven't got any unemployment requests in my names, have you?
No.
Oh, no, he muted himself now.
Or was he? I don't even know if he's talking to me.
You didn't get any.
Yeah, I didn't get any. But Lexipol system, I was able to go down and work with someone very close to us, which was Suffield, that does have the Lexipol system. He was able to add me to their system so I could look at the system and get my own view on that. At this time, I want to be honest with you, with all the radio stuff, I've looked at it, but I haven't dove into it too hard.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't know if I'm willing to spend the money, and that's just being upfront with you, but I'm willing to research the system more. So I'm going to leave that on old business.
Yeah, because I have a comment on that too, Craig. Just a brief update for Lexipol from Chief Mosley. So we were talking last night, and he just wanted to provide some feedback that, and this ties into the manual piece too. If we're going to go with Downs' office instead of Greg Beck's office, because we're not making a lot of progress with them, he said Anthony Downs kind of indicates that, you know, Lexipol is a system that he would probably be urging us to incorporate into as part of our policy and procedure manual for the township, because they integrate well together. So that's just something that we need to take into consideration, but we do need to make a decision. And to tie into your next point, the policy and procedure manual, we need to make a decision on that, John, soon, of what we're going to do with Beck's office, because I don't want to leave Anthony Downs out there for too long, since we made that, you know, soft reach out just to see if they'd be interested in helping us in the absence of Beck's office.
Yeah, it's kind of a spot for us because we use Greg's office a lot on a lot of other stuff, and he keeps giving us carrots out there that he's going to have it done this week or done that. And I don't know how that works either, because we kind of asked him to do it. So I don't know if he has a bunch of hours and he's going to bill us.
I was just going to say, when he says he's going to have it done, does that mean he's been working on it?
Yeah.
Or he hasn't started yet?
I don't know. We'll have to see how that all, I mean, I don't know, but I don't want to hire Mr. Downs and then have to pay him. And now we're paying two people for the same book. So
well, I think we just, instead of email, John, maybe you can just call Beck's office and say, hey, listen, how much work have you guys really done on this? Are you guys in the first 10% of this? Are you guys 50% through it? Because I mean, I want to get this project done. We've been trying.
Yeah, if he's 10% through, we can just pull the plug and move on to the other guy.
I just feel like we're getting the runaround, because every time we email, it's, oh yeah, I'm going to have it for you soon. I'm going to have it for you soon. Like,
and we got one back from him yesterday, pretty much saying the same thing yesterday. Yeah.
So I'm a little, and if he's busy, that's fine. I mean, no harm, no foul. We'll move on. But
right. Yep, I will call him today. I'll let you know what happens.
Okay. And Craig, I only bring that up because, like I said, if we switch to the other attorney, then there might be some push to look at Lexipol or how we're going to manage all these pieces together. Right or wrong, I mean, that's just part of his piece.
And I guess I'll just throw my opinion in there, and I won't say too much about it, but it's kind of what you said. It's another piece to manage, and it's hard to manage a whole nother system. We got a lot on our plate already. Let me say it that way. So right. That's one of the reasons why I don't want another system to keep up on, just to be honest with you.
Right. Well, yeah. So we talked about it. So let's evaluate it. Let's see it, and then we'll come up with a game plan. If we decide not to go with Lexipol, we still got to have those policies and procedures in place somehow.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Moving on to flag box. I don't know, it's under Sue, but I know it sits here at the fire department. And I guess my comment to that would be, it's fine right now until we start going under construction, but maybe there's a comment Sue wants to make.
We've been talking about that on our committee. The box is going to be moved over to the cemetery over around the pond. Then the kiosks will be moved and the box will be moved to be next to the kiosks. And Dave's going to put some concrete spots down so that the water won't wick up into the legs, kind of protect it from the weather. Yeah, Dave is going to be.
Again, it sits right here and it's fine for now.
It's fine for now. Yeah. So Dave will take care of moving it.
We're kind of in a concrete issue right now where we got the tree taken down and the stump has to be additionally ground, but then with the weather, we have to wait for a certain period of time to do concrete over there. Which is probably April or May. And then that's when the kiosk box is going to be moved and the flag will be all moved. So right. If you start construction, Craig, ahead of that, then we'll move it somewhere in the meantime.
Right. I mean, it won't be that hard to move.
Okay. All right.
Dave, you're muted.
Dave's talking.
Hey, Craig, I already moved that box.
Oh.
We actually moved it. I moved it over to the scatter garden for now. That way it wasn't in anybody's way.
See, it was such not in my way that I didn't even notice.
And where the monument was in the scattering garden, there's a good solid cement base there for the box to sit up.
Right, and that's where it's sitting right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, then
So
we can
take that off our list.
Yeah, we take that off the list.
Yep.
Website update. Actually, encouraging news on that. Rochelle was kind of taking the lead on that, and if you would have asked me last week, she had flags all over it. She's cleaned all those up. She's learning. She still needs some educational courses that I tasked her with getting back to me on to educate her how to use the website. But on a positive note, we're up and running, and we're not ready to scrap it yet. So
perfect.
Looks like we're actually making progress toward the opposite way.
All right, thank you.
And in new business, NOPEC grant, I don't know who's speaking on that.
That's me. We had it on the agenda on the 29th of January, and we talked about it. We just didn't pass a resolution. So we need to make a resolution to accept the NOPEC grant that was awarded to Brimfield Township in the amount of $24,442 for the calendar year of 2021.
I'll second that.
What was that number, John?
24,442.
I thought we were at 34,000.
This one is 24,000 that we got. 34 might have been last year.
I could be wrong. I swear they said you'll get 34,000 for 3 years straight, and this would be year 3. But.
Now this one that was sent on January 14th of 21, saying we got 24,442.
Okay.
So if we get more, we can come back and change it. But now we'll just make that. We have we're putting plans together too for ideas. So I know Cassie's been working on some ideas, but Craig and Chris, if you want to talk, and Dave, if there are any energy efficient programs that you need to put in place at your shop, windows, doors, that kind of stuff, let us know, because we need to get a list together and submit that to them to get them approved.
Dave and Chris, you can have it. I'm not fixing anything here.
It's true. I think we were getting quotes already to replace windows down at the community center and a couple of those sliding doors because they leak already. So that's one, but I don't. Cassie, was that only like $6,000 or $7,000?
Yeah. So we got quotes for the 3 upstairs windows and the sliding glass door downstairs, and I think that was a little under 7. Is it on my agenda? Yeah. So those together were $4,175. But then he also gave me a quote for the 2 patio doors upstairs on the main level, which would be an additional $2,800. I don't know what our plan was going to be for those though, because right now they're locked and blocked off.
The plan where it last left off was that those were going to be open with a walkway to a small patio area.
Okay.
And we didn't decide on that patio area. You know, does that walk down to a concrete patio area, or does it walk to an attached deck where you can put a single picnic table? That was kind of where it was left.
Okay.
Well, if I could ask this, if you guys can get any of your ideas and list and get them over to Rochelle, and then she'll keep a running total so we can come back and figure out what we have. Even doing all that down there, we still have $15,000, $16,000 left to spend. So get your thinking caps on.
Yeah. The other item I was looking at too, I'll just throw this out there while we're talking about it, is the fireplace downstairs. We had some rodents getting in through the fireplace, and then we had the old stove in there that I'm always worried somebody's going to try and start a fire in it. So I was looking at sealing that off because it's drafty too. I know Dave and I put some insulation around it, some foam insulation temporarily to keep the mice out, but that's something we might want to look at too.
Right. And that would count as well. I mean, it's energy efficient programs. That's what we need to do.
John, we might have a few things. I do know one thing, that we did not get the lights in our garage, our Sally port, changed over to LED when we had the other items. So that will definitely be one thing that we are going to want to switch over to LED, get away from the fluorescent bulbs.
Okay. Chris, on things like that, can you just get a proposal on how much that would cost and then shoot it over to Rochelle and she'll keep track?
Will do.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. So there's a vote on the floor.
All those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you very much.
Quick side question, real quick. Maybe this is Sue. Is Charles still the contact for NOPEC?
Yeah, Chuck Kuiper.
Richard? I thought it was
Chuck Kuiper.
Am I saying the wrong name?
Chuck Kuiper.
Oh, okay. Do we have his phone number? I'm not saying say it out loud. I'll get it from somebody later.
It's not on this letter here. It's just got a list of everybody involved, but
All right.
there's a telephone number. Actually, yeah, there is, Craig. Why don't you?
I'll get it from you later.
All right. Well, actually, Caitlin is probably the one that Caitlin Albright.
Oh, okay.
The person that you need to talk to. I'll just give her a number. It's on the letter. It's 440-249-6114.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks.
And that was the only thing left under admin, unless Nick, you had something else.
Yeah, I just had one quick thing. I'm going to do a quick screen share here. Let's see here. So this is just a quick update from the Ohio Portage County Township Association meeting. They talked briefly about this, the engineers, but I wanted to cover a couple pieces because we have a timeline that we need to work within for our subdivision regulation updates. The county commissioners need feedback from the townships by March 14th. So Sue, there'll be an email coming shortly with a copy of the subdivision regulation updates. And then we should probably talk about it at the next trustee meeting, either supporting it or asking for any changes to these updates before the county commissioners take it to public hearing. I'm not going to go through the whole PowerPoint. I just pulled a couple slides for you. Important things here is that number one, it requires now anytime a subdivision comes in that they have a preliminary plan submitted. So we'll have a better view of what's going to happen there, and that those preliminary plans will only be good for 3 years. Right now, there's no time limit. So they could submit that and sit on it for an extended period of time. So this is going to allow us to have better prediction of what's coming into the township and how we work with that. This is a big one here. We hear all the time, so many people talking about what are we doing for green space? How are we protecting green space in the township? We're overdeveloping it. So right now, only 5% of that subdivision has to be green space. They've changed that under 408.3 now to say this, is that if you have lots that average between that 20,000 square foot, you have to have now 7% open green space inside your development. If you're going down to quarter acre lots, those small subdivision lots, now they have to have 10% open space throughout the whole development. So it's expanding the amount of green space that they're going to have to require. And it does give an option for what's called a fee in lieu option, which says that the developer, if for some reason they can't meet the green space requirements because of the type of land that it is, whatever that is, they can buy down that percentages payment directly to the township, and that money can only be used for parks and recreation. So if a development comes in and they can't meet that 10%, they only can meet 5%, they're going to have to buy that down. Then that money has to be used by us as the township within 5 years to purchase more green space or to improve upon our current green space. So this could be, and this is going to be across the entire county. So this is going to help preserve and improve green spaces in Portage County. This is also another piece. They're going to do a final acceptance. So now we're going to go out and we get to walk with the county engineer looking at the development before they go into their maintenance period for 1 year. So Dave and his crew will get to go out with the county engineer. We're going to look at how the roadway looks and do a punch list with that developer and say, all these have to be fixed before we go into a maintenance period. Then there's a 1 year maintenance period. And at the end of that, we do a final walkthrough again and give them a punch list before they put that final coating on top of it. So we're going to get 2 voices in this process before we accept these roadways that we're having so many issues with that's costing us so much money. So we're going to be more involved in this process under the plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm looking at we were under new business with NOPEC.
Yes.
What you're talking about, does that come under, would that fall under our guest and what we talked about the engineer stuff back then? Or do we have to have something here on the agenda?
No, there's nothing on. It's just an informational update because we're not voting on anything today. So this is just an update to the board of what we heard.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out where to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, because we're not going to vote on this today. This is just me giving you an overview of what we're talking about.
Oh, this is an FYI. Okay.
Yep. This is the other big change that you're going to see here is that the road surfaces, they're adding an asphalt intermediate layer and an aggregate base layer. So they're actually thickening the roadways that they're going to put down in our subdivisions. So Dave, this should help these roads be stronger and last longer because now they have to build to these new specs. So this should be a big change for our roads in the township, Dave. And then this is the proposed timeline. The public board hearing was supposed to be in April. As you heard today, they're going to move that to May. So we might have a little bit of time, but really the regional planning would like comments back from each township by March 14th. So really we have about 3 weeks to review these plans, talk about them in our next trustee meeting, and then send any comments over of concerns. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. So that's kind of an overview of what we talked about there. The only concern that still exists out there, and Mike Ladd, you might be able to talk on this a little bit. I just want to bring the attention to it because there was a big talking point at the commissioners meeting yesterday. Mickey Marazzi wants cash only for the money put down on the project by the developers. They're not going to accept bonds in this development process. But I think bonds are going to be an important issue for us to be able to attract the right developers here. Mike, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we hit this with Maple Crest and the amount of cash that had to go and be put in place. I think there's very few developers that could have handled Maple Crest, knowing that it was a cash bond only. And, you know, if I could recall, I think Dan was telling me that he had to put $4 million in escrow. There's not a lot of developers that are willing to do that type of cash and have it sit for any length of time. So in addition to go ahead and rehabilitate the whole area and do the construction out of a separate fund. So it's going to hinder development throughout the entire Portage County if he doesn't take bonds. But and I don't know why you wouldn't take bonds. You know, I've talked to several attorneys that are law directors, and you know they just never heard of this before. So quite odd. I know the county got burned before on letters of credit, but then again I don't know why anybody would take a letter of credit in lieu of a bond. So I think it's something that we need to discuss, and I know Sabrina has already started saying things about it, and I'm sure that Portage County Development is going to say something as well, because it's just going to hinder who you have. Now, there's always a way of doing it, you know, residentially for your subdivisions and your houses. That's one fee, but commercially it's a lot more expensive. And I expressed that in my concern to regional planning as well. I think if you have a commercial development, it should be treated differently as far as allowing bonds, because the cost factor is just too high.
Okay. So really, I mean, my cursory review of this, these changes are really, really good. The only sticking point right now for me is that bond issue. So Sue, we'll get those files over to you so you can take a look at them. I'm just waiting for them to be sent out through the Township Association. And then we'll make sure Mike gets them when he gets back from his vacation. And I think it should be a good talking point for next meeting. All right. That's going to move us into zoning and economic development. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thanks. Next virtual Board of Zoning Appeals hearing is March 17th, 7 o'clock. I just got an email. I didn't respond yet. Must came in yesterday, last night, for the fire station. It looks like there's 3 variances that need to happen. So I'm going to reach out to them today and try to get them on the 17th. It looks like one is for parking, one is for height of the structure, and then one is for the trees. So not a big deal. I think we could put that on, get it on, as long as we have all the documents. I'm just going to ask for them sent electronically. We're not going to ask the 9 hard sets. So they should be on the 17th, as well as Zoning Commission is March 11th. Nick, are you going to be present at that meeting? Because we have Tom Wees with the Skipper Group trying to talk to us about different zoning districts for their property. Right now, Todd and I have been looking into that. You know, after the comprehensive land use plan, we're going to be narrowing down what those areas look like, and look at numbers, look at where we're at with every piece of land. And right now it's looking that we expand it into town center. Right now there's highway commercial there, but you don't want to extend the highway commercial because it's going to just, you know, get into your town center area. So I think if we were going to change it from anything, that's what it should be. But we are going to discuss that at the zoning commission on the 11th.
Yeah. What time is that meeting going to be?
7 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll be there. Just make sure you send me the Zoom link to attend.
Okay. And then everybody should have got a contract with Mike Wolin Engineering to create easements for the new township signs. After looking into all of that, there isn't any easements, and I guess that's not uncommon, you know, in the past where they just plopped up signs. But we are going to get easements for all the new signs. And I don't know if you got a chance to take a look at that contract, but I'd need a vote on it.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract with Woland Engineering to create easements for the township signs.
Second.
Okay. And this is just to create easements for all of for the 4 incoming signs that we passed the motion for last year.
Yeah, and I think those, in the past, those signs have just been plopped up there and nothing was ever done. It was on somebody else's property. So I think it's a good idea as well. So all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Hey,
Mike, I'm going to sign this and get it over to Kirsten. If you want to make sure that whatever Mike needs, Wolin, can you handle that?
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Mike, I know I'm seeing a lot of emails back and forth. Basically, the one I need in the end is for you to tell me, okay, we can go ahead and pay them. So just tell me when that happens.
Okay, as far as the signs, yeah, that'll be on hold for a little bit.
Yeah, just let me know when that happens and I'll get the PO cut.
The only thing that Craig said is if it's going to be a little bit before we get easements created and the outside foundations get poured, he would like to start working on the signs in the shop. And I think there's some material costs that he'd like to get reimbursed for.
There was, according to the original contract, he wanted 50% down, but we weren't going to put 50% down until we know we can do it. I guess that's what I'm looking for.
And I think Woland to give us the green light here in the next week or so.
Okay, that's what I need to know, and you tell me when that happens.
Okay. Heritage of Brimfield Skilled Nursing Facility on State Route 43 in Malloy was approved by the BZA. This will be a 96-bed facility. Construction will start this spring. One of our easements is going to be with them on their property. We're going to take it outside the right-of-way. I've already discussed this with their attorney. The other sign going down on 43 will be with the school and with the school property on that one. The 2 on 18, I'm working with the county right now to get the definite locations and then the property owners and see if we could get easements from them. Aero Industries expansion was approved by the BZA, which will create another 15 jobs. They're putting a new ramp in front of their building. They had opportunity to leave and go somewhere else with a bigger facility. I think the plan we have for them in order to stay is good. And I think, you know, I'm glad they're staying here and I'm glad they're going to increase their employee count. Redwood Apartments continues grading on the site on Route 18. They're going to move along pretty good. I think this year you're going to see a lot of activity up in there. I mean, there's some bad soils, as you can see from driving past. You could see the organics in there. So it's a unique site. Currently, we're working on purchasing a new scanner. We've looked into this versus the cost of having plans scanned in annually and then the long-term digital archive. I sent some information that they sent to me over to Brian. So I'd like to discuss it with him along with police and see how they're keeping their archives and their stuff digitally and how much it is. This one, I believe, starts at $69 a month for all of our archiving of plans. And I think a lot of them are cross, like, you know, what we have, I think fire has, and vice versa. So, you know, before we have something like that, I'd like to work with them as well, make sure that they don't need a scanner. If fire would need a scanner as well, then it's obviously, then we'd look into it. But scanners they're not super expensive from getting new. It's just the updates and the amount of upkeep that you have to keep with them is expensive. So I'm trying to weigh all that into, whereas if we just ship them out once a year and have them scanned in, if that's going to be enough. But I'll let you guys know what we come up with. Our permit fee year to date is $65,200. You know, this is going to be a high year for permits. We had a record last year, which was a little over 150,000. We're already at 65,000. We're not at the end of February yet, which is high. So.
All right. Any questions for zoning and economic development? All right, hearing none. Thank you, Mike. Road Department, Dave, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know we just got another 200 ton of salt in. We've been mainly working on plowing and salting roadways for right now, with storm after storm. We're doing some upkeep on the trucks right now. We removed the 2 trees from the cemetery that we were discussing. There's still some more work to be done on them, some more stump grinding. The one big tree in the front, we had to remove some of the sawdust before we can finish stump grinding. There was so much of a pile. Now I'm going to jump to the fun stuff, I guess. Oh, I guess I can let you know an old business, Maple Crest, they did put the arrows in for the people, the turn arrows. So that's all, that is completed. We can get rid of that off the list. They actually installed them the same day we were talking about them last trustee meeting. So, I need to get the board's approval to accept the proposal for the Howe Road culvert project through OPWC, where we can start moving ahead on that for $400,000, which is a split 50-50.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal for the Howe Road culvert project replacement.
I would second that for discussion. What I'm concerned about is this culvert replacement is going to break down in traffic. We've got ODOT coming in all this summer. They're going to be doing things over there on 18 and multiple places where they're going to be doing road construction. And I just don't want to block us all in so that our residents can't move around. I think we need to take a look at that and see who, what, where, when, so we don't get blocked out. A lot going on.
Dave, we don't have any plans for Howe Road east, do we, from Mogador Road?
No, this will all be from Mogador Road to the tallmadge line.
Because I'm going to assume that the trucks that can't get off the expressway at 18 to get to Crystal Parkway are going to get off at 43 and then come down Howe Road.
Right. Well, the bad part about that is they're not supposed to be on Howe Road.
Well, what route would they get, though? Because they can't come down Mogador anymore.
Well, that's going to be, that's all in the specs of the corridor project. I mean, I haven't got to where they're going to detour everybody. Probably with the trucks. I mean, now this is just guessing. They'll probably detour them down like 261 to Mogador Road and around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because our road is not made to handle semis. Even though you see them on the road, they're not supposed to be on our road.
Okay. Does Mike Collins put the detour stuff together? Is that who does that?
That's going to be one of them between the county engineers and probably ODOT, since it's, you know, a coordinated problem.
Do you have any say in that in regards to the makeup of our road, that we can't, you know, we can restrict trucks there in case they try to bring it down Howe Road?
Yes, we can. I mean, I've made the comment to Mike Collins before, and they know it. You know, that we don't want trucks on Sunnybrook. We don't want trucks on Howe. We don't, you know, try to protect our roads. I mean, quote, I've known ODOT's done it in the past. If they would do our roadway, say they force it down us, any damage to our road, they would come back and repair. Seen that done, but don't quote me on it. I'm not going to swear by it, but I've seen it where they've been in a pickle and that's what they do. So,
because that road's going to need some work anyway, and I didn't want to put a bunch of work into it this year and then have it all get ruined by trucks coming down it. Have to do it next year.
Because actually the Howe Road project that we're talking about with the culvert pipe, there's 2 culvert pipes there. One of them has to be, it's got to be replaced. This is the one I brought up last year that was working on the failure. So we can't put it off any longer.
No, I was just thinking of Howe Road east of Mogador, because I knew you wanted to chip and seal that one eventually.
That's further down the line, because there's a lot of, between like Sunnybrook and Mogador Road, there's a lot of base repair that needs to be done there too before we would chip and seal it. So
yeah, if you can just make sure whoever doesn't let them make the detour come down 76 to 43 and then down Howe Road.
Right. Well, and then again, it's like our big brother, you know how that goes. They can tell us this is where it's coming. I mean, but like I said, in the past, they've always fixed damaged roads if that's how they had to do it. It's not like they're going to come in, destroy our road, and then pull off and leave, you know, so.
Well, then we should let them go down there, and then they can redo the road for us.
Put a sign up ourselves.
All right. Okay, so we just need a vote then for the Howe Road project. Sue, are you good with your comments?
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Just an FYI too on that same project. That project's $400,000, but there is funding. We're going to be on the hook. Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, for $89,500 of that when it's all said and done.
After the split with tallmadge, the corridor, you know, that kind of stuff, yeah, our price will be pretty good on this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not 400 grand. It's
right.
It's about 25% of that.
Right. With the OPWC split, City of Tallmadge split with us, and our part, we're going to get a pretty good project done for a pretty minimum price.
Okay.
The next thing I need for board approval is I need to get the board's approval for GPD to do the design and engineering of the project for a cost of $32,500. The design the culverts and all that stuff to do all the legwork on it.
I'll make a motion to approve GPD to be our engineer for the Howe Road culvert project.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. David, are you going to talk to GPD or whoever, pass this on, or where do you need us to send this?
It's just like before. We'll send the money to the county, and then the county will divvy it out like they did with OmniPro and that kind of stuff.
Okay, but the proposal acceptance, are you going to handle that, or do we?
Yes, I will get a hold of Mike Collins and all that, and GPD and that.
Kirsten should have a resolution by tomorrow afternoon for you, written up, that you could take over if you needed it.
Okay, nope,
right.
That's no problem.
Okay.
And then the third thing I have for board approval is to, man, I lost my page. Board approval to accept a cooperative agreement with the City of Tallmadge for construction costs associated with the Howe Road culvert project.
I'll make a motion to enter into a cooperative agreement with the City of Tallmadge for the construction costs associated with the Howe Road culvert replacement project.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. I have, just as an info here, I have that breakdown sheet, which I'm going to sign off on and send on its way, if that's good with you guys.
That's fine.
Okay. That's where the $89,000 comes from?
Right.
Okay. All right. to you, Dave.
Okay, we're good.
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to let everybody know too that pretty much we're done with the road department budget, and we have some nice things that are going to happen this summer. As long as everything keeps falling in place and we don't have much things go wrong, let's say. We're looking at purchasing maybe a new dump truck. We have about 9.5 miles of chip and seal projects we'd like to do this year. We have one major allotment we're going to redo again this year. And we're going to try something out. It's called a fog seal on some of these chip and seal roads, which will turn the road black and actually help preserve them for longer. And if my wish list comes true, we may be able to get a boom mower that the township really needs to mow the back of ditches and brush off and tree lawns and that kind of stuff. That's one of the things we're holding off. You know, that's one of the last things. I just wanted to kind of give you a little update on that. So
on that fog seal, Dave, how many miles are we going to test that on?
I had it wrote down, and of course everything I have is all mixed up. It's actually going to be, we're going to try it out on Malloy, Lynn, and Edson Road. The roads that we did a motor pave to. They're actually, Malloy Road's one of them that I'd like to I have to chip and seal this year because it's that time to put the new coat on top of the motor pave. And we're going to put the fog seal on that to see, one, we'll see how it lasts with traffic because Malloy Road is a very traveled road.
Okay.
Then like Lynn Road and Edson's a very busy road now too. I mean, the traffic counts picked up. So we just want to see how it is and how it'll last.
Okay. No, I'll be excited to see that. Let me know when we get to that.
It actually the road will look more black. It'll look more like pavement. So, and it locks the stone in where the stone doesn't move as much.
Okay.
Hey, got a question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
On the winter side of things, it'll help melt the snow off better because it'll be darker and it'll help with the sealant. It'll allow the salt to work out on the roads a little better and locking in on the coarser stone.
I want to ask you about that truck.
Yes.
How old is the truck that you're replacing?
The truck we're replacing is a 2001.
Okay.
So it's 20 years old, and it's the truck like before I had to order some parts from Alabama. It's got a cylinder, it needs replaced. There's probably close to $25,000 worth of stuff I need to do to it through the summer if I kept it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you sharing that. I just wanted to get it out there and get the word said that it's just not a new truck just to have one.
Right. No,
we really need it. Okay.
Yeah, this one really needs replaced. I mean, it's one of kind of like the police report. It's a nickel dime truck. It's costing us a lot more to keep it on the road than it's really worth.
Okay, thank you.
It needs fuel tanks replaced, battery box replaced. You know, it's a lot of stuff that needs replaced on it. So,
hey Dave, I got a question on the fog seal.
Yeah.
And maybe I missed this, but how quickly after it goes on chip and seal, right?
Yes.
So how quickly after the chip and seal goes down do you put the fog seal?
That I have to get a little more specific with the company on that. Actually, right now, H. Lulai, when they chip and seal, I've been talking back and forth with Henry on fog seal and stuff. So I don't know if it's something you can spray. They'll probably wait a few days because you got to clean the road off of the chip seal, and then it probably gets sprayed right after.
Because I think a lot of the things I see, and it bothers me because I like keeping my car clean, is the dust. So I'm hoping that, quickly seals that in, and that would cut down on that also.
Right. No, it locks in everything with like a polymer. So it's actually a pretty nice process. That's why I want to try it and see how it works.
Yeah, like Nick, I'm very interested in seeing how this will work. So, all right, that's it. Thanks.
So am I. Hopefully it does work. I don't want to be the goat, but hey, it happens. Just one more FYI. I mean, I guess I should have said this under safety concerns, but people cleaning their driveways and throwing the snow in the roadway after we have the road cleared off and stuff. I've gotten calls, why don't we come back out and plow it off for the residents after they throw it in our roads? Well, my guys have put in a long day's time, and most of the people clean them off after we go home, and we hit them the next day with our plow trucks. And the problem is it's not coming off. And one of these times I'm going to catch somebody's pile out there and it's going to damage one of the trucks. So my concern is I 90+% of the people in the township put their snow where it belongs in their yard and their, you know, either, but it's that little percentage that's getting worse and worse. They throw it in the roadway and it's turned into a block of ice on us. And I'm afraid one of these times we're going to damage the truck on this. I just wanted to kind of put it out there for the trustees to know it's kind of slowly getting worse than what it used to be. So, I mean, I hate to say it to the residents, but if we damage a truck, that's one less truck we have sitting on the road trying to clear the roads off as we're working on it. So I'd rather see you throw the stuff where it belongs up in the yards and stuff. So just kind of putting it out there. And that'll do my report.
Thanks, Dave.
Any questions for Dave? All right, hearing none, we'll move into Parks and Rec.
All right, I have a long report today, so bear with me. All right, old business, the baseball fields. There was a typo here. They actually began the work on 2/12, not 2/19. They went out and looked at it, and then the snow hit, so there's been a bit of a delay on that. I set a deadline for that work for March 22nd, and he said he should have it done by then. I believe our first baseball field rental is March 29th, so that should give them plenty of time. Next item, the fence at Lions Park. We're still waiting on the playground equipment and the ground to not be frozen anymore for that. Park grants, I reached out to Gatchel Grant Resources again. I haven't heard back from them. I'm assuming they're very busy with the grant projects that they were working on. So hopefully I'll hear back from them soon. After our meeting 2 weeks ago, I got the subscription to GrantWatch, and I found quite a few opportunities that we would be qualified for. Two that I'm particularly interested in is a Pet Safe grant for dog park restoration, which can grant you up to $5,000 for that. I'm getting more information on that one. And another one is from the Fish and Wildlife Service for wetland restoration. And they grant projects of up to $100,000, which would be ideal for Messner Acres. That would obviously be a much more involved grant process than the Pet Safe one. So I would have to look into that. The deadline for that one would be April of this year. So obviously I wouldn't be applying for it this year, but start preparing for possible application next year. Playground equipment. So I'm going to need a screen share for this one. I have a PowerPoint with some sketches. I've been working with Meyer Design, the company that did the first phase of the playground at Lions Park. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this is what our playground looks like now. If you're not familiar, these are the pieces we have now. And this slide is just for reference. These are the pieces that we are looking to install. The top two pieces are rings. There's a cladder bridge, which is one of those bridges with the chains on it that kind of sways when you step on it. There's a rope climber, some ground level panels, and some CNC car design ideas. So I'm going to give you 3 sketches at different price points. Oh, that's just an up-close version of one of the CNC cars. This is the most expensive option. This is the one that includes 3 separate CNC cars, a dump truck, a fire truck, and a police car. But then the pieces that are going to remain the same throughout the 3 sketches are the overhead rings, the cladder bridge, the secondary panel that's being installed, the step climber, the vertical climber, and then of course we're gonna relocate the ADA transfer station that's there as well. So this piece here breaks down to $52,455, and a lot of that cost comes from the addition of the extra barrier panels and the grading and the ground level work. These prices do include grading and installation. So that's something to consider when we put this in. Before we did a community build and saved some money on that, but we won't be doing that due to COVID. So the next option, and this is my preference between the three, would be to install one CNC car here. And then of course, all the same pieces there. We would need to expand that outer border panel and add some more substrate there. And that would come to a cost of $37,395. And then the third option, I just had him do a quote for this one as well. If we didn't include any of the CNC cars, this would obviously have a smaller surface area than the other three. And this would come to $28,635. So my preference would be for the mid-range one. I think it gives us more opportunities for the bigger kids, because I know a lot of the feedback that I've heard is it's mostly for smaller kids. And we still would have one of the CNC cars that we wanted. And yeah, I think, and then it would leave some room in the budget to install another piece at either Cranberry Creek or the soccer field. So I don't know if you wanted to make a decision on this today or review it and get back to me at the next meeting.
I'd like to try to make a decision today, only because I'd like to get this on their books and scheduled, because we got springs coming up soon. The sooner we can get that groundwork started, sooner we can get it installed, especially with COVID. I know people are really wanting to get out of their house. I like the second option, that mid-range option, as long as we keep in mind at our next playground equipment, we do another CNC piece for the police department and then a CNC piece for the fire department as we kind of go around. So I want to make sure we're spotlighting each of those departments as part of our playground equipment.
So then there's a fence all the way around it?
That's it's like the plastic border that goes around it to hold all the mulch in. It's not really like a tall fence.
Okay.
Yeah. But remember, Sue, we're putting in the rope fence already down at that park around there. It's not part of this. That's a separate project we're doing. So it'll be fenced in.
All right.
And if we wanted to add on to this in the future, we can. There's some room, not a whole lot of room, but if we wanted to add more cars or a couple other pieces, I talked to Ken. He gave me so many different sketches and he's been really great to work with. And he said, if we wanted to add on more pieces later, we can.
Okay, good. Those are good options.
Right, well, I'd like to make a motion for this mid-range option through Meyer Design to be purchased and installed by them.
Second.
1 second here. From Myers Design.
And its cost to not exceed, we'll just round it up to an even 40,000. That way we just, in case there's any incidentals.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thanks.
Great. I'm excited to get moving on that piece. Okay, and now moving on to my next item, I have trail expansion and updates with the markers. I also have quotes for the markers at the park. At Lions Park, I need to do another screen share. All right, so I did some, this is not what I wanted to look at. Where's my other piece here? There we go. Okay, so I've been looking at Carcinite trail posts, which are just a fiberglass composite material. I really like these because they're simple and easy to install and very durable. And they're pretty inexpensive per item. So if we ever needed to replace one, it's pretty easy to do. So the quote that I have here for these, I have 40 of them. There was a bit of a discount if we ordered this intro kit, which includes 20 markers and the, I forget what the name of it is. It's the thing that you use to install them. It's a specialized tool that you put the post inside of it and then you drive it into the ground. So that was a good deal for that because that piece alone was $200. So I think we saved like $150 by doing the intro kit. And then I ordered an additional 20 markers to give us a total of 40. So I have, yeah, this is the piece I was talking about here, this post driver. That's what I was looking to say. And then also on their website, we got a couple free decals with the trail marking kit, which are these little stickers here. You can order any kind of sticker that you want. Their website was pretty expensive. So I went to Graphic Detail and asked them to create decals for us to see if we could save a little bit there. This was what I had drawn up as the name of our trail and just some general park rules, our contact information, and the address of the park here. The other reason I really like these Carsonite markers is if we ever wanted to add more decals to them, we can. We have that option. If we wanted to add mileage or QR code stickers or something like that in the future, we can. So the price with the decals, I ordered 80 of those because we'll have 40 markers and they're double-sided. So if you wanted to walk the trail either way, we'd have those on there. So the total cost of all of these items would be, I can't see here. I have to move you to the side. There we go. Would be $1,248.84.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal to install the markers, the hiking markers for discussion.
Second.
Cassie, do we have any arrows that are going to go on these? Because I know there's some points in the trail where you can get confused, especially if you're trying to do it backwards or whatever. Is there any plans on that? What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I can add some additional decals. I wasn't sure. I know we'd gone back and forth on whether we wanted to do arrows or not, but that would be an easy thing to add. I can add them to each post, or I can just add them to posts that are at specific places where the trail might get more confusing.
Yeah, just to help make it clear, and maybe it's two colors, red coming in from one side, green coming in from the other, whatever. Because there's some spots where you're like, did I just go back where I came from or what? So if we could clarify that, that would be good.
Yeah, those might be something that I order once the trail markers are installed. Okay. So that we can kind of decide where we would need the arrows. Because I don't know that we need them on each post, maybe just specific ones.
Right.
Yeah, and those are easy to add later too.
Okay. Sue, any questions or comments?
No. I think it's a great idea. I think it's good, and Cassie's doing a great job.
Okay, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Right. So then that brings us into new business. Parks programs for March. March is National Craft Month. There's a national day and month for everything. And it's National Craft Month. So I'll be posting weekly crafts on our Facebook page and website and YouTube channels. Some just short craft ideas. And then I'll be continuing Backyard Brimfield for March as well. I had an idea for a spring outdoor event. I was trying to rack my brain to think of something that would bring people to the parks, but prevent them from gathering in large groups at one time. So I was considering doing a spring outdoor photo exhibit where residents or possibly non-residents would submit their photos of Brimfield, and we would print them, put them up at the park, and have people vote for their favorite ones. And the winner's photos could be placed in the town hall or the community center. I just wanted to get your opinion on that.
I like the idea. I think my only concern is just making sure that we do it in a fashion that doesn't draw a large group at one time to look at the photos. Or we're gonna have to do some marking for social distancing, those sorts of things. But I think there's a possibility for it there.
Yeah. I was thinking to have the exhibit up for 2 or 3 weeks, possibly starting on Mother's Day weekend and going to the end of May, depending on how long the submission process takes. And then I've been kind of working on a submission waiver, looking at what other places had done. And yeah, we could definitely put up some social distancing signs. I talked to Craig a little bit. I wanted to do this up at the town green. I thought that would be a good place for it. Having the gazebo up there and just having a small area. Maybe we could set the photos around like in a circle and people could walk around a circle and look at them. And I have a SurveyMonkey account, and we can have people vote for their favorites that way.
With the construction project, is that going to be a problem with the town green?
That's what we were thinking about. I was thinking that it would be far enough out into the park that it wouldn't be a concern, but I can always move it to a different park.
So here was my thought, just when you said that, because I just got worried about construction vehicles and trees coming down. Could we do it at the community center, and that way people could tour the community center while they're there, or at least put it outside? I don't know how we watch the stuff to make sure nothing gets stolen or damaged at the different times, but
well, kind of my thought was I didn't want it to be like a mass gathering type event. I want it to be more of a passive, like, oh, when you have time on your lunch break or whatever, you can come and see them. So I think putting it inside the community center might be kind of limiting. So maybe another outdoor location. I was thinking maybe Cranberry Creek.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to picture how we're going to protect the photos so they don't degrade in the weather, you know, and they don't get damaged. So I think there's some merit there. I think we just got to work through some of the details.
Yeah, I reached out to Graphic Detail too when I was talking about the vinyl stickers and talking about a way that we could print the photos. I mean, we can always laminate them. That might not be the prettiest choice, but it would make them more durable. But maybe there's another way that we can print them on some sort of material that's water resistant. I also have 2 pop-up tents that I bought, like 10 by 10 pop-up tents that I bought for the Christmas community drive-through last year that we weren't able to use because we only had 10 people. So I have those in stock. I was thinking we could maybe post the pictures on the insides and the outsides of those pop-up tents for people to walk in and out of. So that's another idea.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Drop some more plans for it and let's talk about it at the next trustee meeting. I think there's some potential there.
Okay. People love a contest. I think that's a fun idea. They love the Christmas lighting contest. So, all right. Next update, the Brimfield Parks Advisory Committee met on the 18th. We are working on a park survey for the community, specifically how we can improve our parks. The Parks Committee did their own survey back in October and November, and they highlighted some areas that need improvements in our parks. We would like to extend this survey to the citizens of Brimfield, and we are working on our questions for that and distribution methods. I do have a SurveyMonkey account, but we would also like to come up with ways that we can distribute it to people that either do not have the internet or maybe are not internet savvy. So we are considering that. We're going to discuss it at our next meeting on March 18th. And then my last item is the NOPEC grant items at the community center. We already talked about these, so we don't have to repeat them if you don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I think John's just having everybody gather a list and then get them over to Kirsten, and then we'll get a total list, and then we'll bring it before us and we'll just approve it all at once.
Okay, sounds good. So then that's all I had.
All right. Any questions for Parks and Rec?
Nope.
All right. Hearing none, we'll move into the next section. Cemetery. Any updates, Sue?
On the columbarium project, the tree's down. The kiosk is going to be moved. And I think next we're going to be getting a hold of Kevin from Portage Marble and get his input, because that's his expertise of the style and the shape of the cement base. And this cement base has to be strong enough and deep enough to actually hold the columbariums. So
Okay.
we can't put it in a 2-inch thing of cement. It's going to have to be deeper than that to hold the weight. But I've already got dibs from 2 people that want to purchase. Rochelle is making up a flyer that I can give out to people who may be interested in buying the niches even before the columbarium is up. I think the whole project will probably be done by the end of July, depending on weather.
Okay, perfect.
John, did you have anything you want to add in it? Because I know the committee is really excited about this whole project, so we'll let them all talk.
Well, not on the column burial as much, but the concrete pad. I sent a picture around to you guys last night. It's in your email. Mm-hmm. That was what I was thinking of, the concrete pad. So take a look at that, because we're going to go through some options with that down the road. Also, we have a new cemetery software update that actually can get it all. It's on our website now under the cemetery tab, which is going to be on the new kiosk that's down there. You can bring it up on your cell phone, and it'll actually throughout the entire cemetery show you where everybody's buried. So that's new now. But when we move the kiosk, we're going to change the kiosk around a little bit, and we're going to make that kind of the main focus on it. But that's all kind of in going with the same project all together. It's in the same area where all that's happening. But that's new out there as well. We are also, this is just preliminary at this point, we're trying to acquire some additional cemetery land with regards to the project going on at the old Green Hills, because we're going to run out of space eventually here. I think we're probably at about a 15-year totally sold out of our current cemetery. So we're trying to figure out how to add another 30 so years onto the cemetery with spots. So that's just under, I mean, we don't have anything final or where we're going, but we are trying to acquire additional land that's right on the edge of our cemetery right now. So, and it's not going to be it's not going to be something we have to purchase. It might be a combination of green space for the project going on at Green Hills. So that's just an update. I'll keep you posted on that as it goes along.
Perfect. Anything else under cemetery?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like it's coming along great. So I'm excited to see it. Can't wait to see him start some work down there on that. That'll take us into fiscal. John, okay. Update on fuel cards? Anything?
Well, it was being worked on, but we kind of got bogged down with the end of finalizing all the budget stuff. So I don't really have an update on it. It's not completed yet, but we are done with the budget now. So it can come right back to the top of the table here. So next meeting, we're going to leave it out there for the next meeting. We should have a better idea. The number 2 item, the new business, the 2021 appropriations. I kind of want to just go through this with you guys. I emailed it out to all the trustees. It was an Excel spreadsheet that we used to evaluate future expenditures based off of historical past that we've gone through over the years with Brimfield Township. It's a very accurate tool in regards to estimating our upcoming revenue dollars coming into Brimfield, our expenditures, and all of that with our budget. So it's been very accurate over the years. What I have done in the past couple of years, and I have to say this out loud, but they're all getting real smart. It must be a good teacher, or they're just all smart. But our department heads they know our budget inside and out in regards to their own department. So Chief Mullally, Chief Mosley, Captain Atkins, Dave Ruffner, Cassie, we've all met, and actually zoning, we've actually included in that a little bit, to how to run their actual budget based off of their funds available to them. So that's where a lot of the projects that you've been hearing about today that they've been bringing up, those are all built into their 2021 appropriation list and their 2021 budget. So it allows us all to take a look at what the plans are for the year, see what's actually happening in Brimfield, with our funds, and making sure that we're spending the best way we can appropriately on projects that help the citizens of Brimfield. So that's what we've set this whole thing up. So what we have in front of you, that Excel spreadsheet, those are the 2021 appropriations that we need to approve. I already sent the budget, the actual budget amount, over to Portage County. That comes from my office, but then the appropriations get approved by the board. But again, all the department heads have worked together with me to create their own budget and appropriations internally in their own accounts. So today I'm asking for an approval of the 2021 appropriation sheet.
I want to say I spent a good hour and a half with John yesterday, and we went over the budget for the whole township, and I just think that he's doing a great job, like he said, our department heads are now responsible for their money that they can work with. They have to stay within their own levies and their own incomes. And it's been a real good teaching. It's taken about 3 years to get this all to come together for us. But it just shows that we're really looking into the future, and we're looking into serving the residents and being the best servants that we can. And I do understand the budget, gone through it. Appreciate it, John.
Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. Our department heads are doing an amazing job. Over the past few years, we've really changed a lot of things of how we do things and where the township's headed to. And our department heads have a really good understanding of that, and to see how this budget comes together. And we're not only planning for right now, but we're planning for the future and a plan for those unknown circumstances. And that's really big, to know that we're making those steps in the right direction to be responsive to what happens. So I would like to officially make the motion to accept those appropriations for 2021 so we can start moving forward into our year.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Nick?
Yes.
Sue, sorry.
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you guys very much. We'll, by the end of the week, everything will be in the system in UAN, and we'll be all on our way.
All right. Thank you, John, for all that you're doing with that. It's appreciated. I know this is a busy time of the year for your department over there. So tell everyone over there, thank you for all their hard work on this.
I will definitely do so. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other business to come before the board?
Well, I have some good news to share from the cemetery. We have the Ohio Cemetery Association that our cemetery is a member of. And Rochelle, who's not here today, but anyway, Rochelle wrote a very nice article, and they published it. It has pictures of our cemetery, tells a little story about what's going on with our cemetery, but it went into a statewide magazine that goes to all the cemetery members in the state of Ohio. She did a really good job.
Well, we got an article in there talking all about it. It was really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Can we put that, are we on any copyright infringement if we put that article on our Facebook page or in our newsletter?
We can just put it out there, the actual article. Just put it out there.
Okay, would somebody do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'll have Rochelle do that.
All right, great job. Anything else for the good of the order then? All right.
Yes.
Done?
Yes.
Oh, Craig.
Hey, just a quick comment real quick. I know there's been concerns. Our flag out in the park, it tends to rip constantly. I keep buying them. I apologize. I do not want to rip the flag. Just let me know and I'll get it replaced. We're going to have to redo that whole flagpole. Our lines are tangled and everything else, but that's going to be part of redoing the town hall and fire station. So just bear with me. If you see a ripped flag, let me know.
Okay.
This is just a curiosity thing. Are flags at half staff now? I saw two.
Yeah, ours should be at half staff also. They're at half staff till sunset on Friday in remembrance of the 500,000 Americans that have passed away from COVID.
Okay.
Yes, and as you say that, I forgot. I will do it immediately.
All right, thanks, Greg. All right, hearing nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Yeah, all those in favor, Nick?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
We are adjourned at 9:58 a.m. You guys have a good week.
All right, everyone, have a great week.